Hey, everybody, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you might be listening to this. I'm DrBeth.com, and I am known as America's Teenologist. And you may wonder, what is a freaking teenologist? And I will tell you, it is somebody that loves inner teen energy. And I need a warning, Danger Will Robinson warning sign on my head. When anybody hangs out with me, you might find your inner teenager and you may start to turn into your inner teenager. So just don't say it and don't say it and warn you. But today we're going to talk about what's your story and how's that story working for you? And this is going to be so much fun. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of my Dr. Bethisms and my Dr. Beth tools and tips. And I'm going to just dump as much as I can in the next 45 minutes. So you may want more. And at the end of this time, what I will do is I will give you an offer. And if you choose to come play with me, you might get even more compassion, love, and playfulness. You might even get to step bigger and greater and bigger into your greatest, grandest version of yourself. And I'm also going to tell you about today three specific saboteurs. And these saboteurs can pull your pants down when you're not looking. They can knock your feet out from under you when you're not looking. And they're known as the inner family zoo. So I'm going to give you different aspects of these characters, some case studies, and at least one tip per saboteur on how you can get back in your power when you feel like you just can't even get out from underneath the covers. So this tool, this process, what it does is it gives you a way to move things along faster, to figure out if what you're trying to push water up the hill is even a hill you want to die on. Like, is that even the hill you want to put water bucket up there? There's one funny story that I have. Uh, a, a guy got all the way to the end of his doctoral program. It was actually in my doctoral program. And at the end, to become a psychologist, at the end, he's like, I hate people. I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to help people. I mean, that's like, I don't know, 30 years of training to find out I don't like people and I don't even want to be a psychologist. So there's a really fabulous process that can help you figure out who you really want to be. What is your story? How is that story working for you? And then I can help you break it down, transform it, rewrite it, and step you up wherever you want to go. And make sure that all parts of your inner family zoo are on board with what you say you want. So, who wants some of that? Say, yeah. All right. Well, here we go. Here we go. So, this is my promise to you. This is really going to be a process that I am going to give you some specific tools, three of my absolute favorites, as a matter of fact. And I'm going to give you, at the end, what you'll also get is a Cliff Note version of everything I'm talking to you about. So this is my very, very organized chart that is 7 pages of some incredible information that you're going to want on how to understand these saboteurs. And I'll be describing and using this chart as we go along. And you can have your very own chart. So here we go, here we go. Um, First of all, the let me tell you where this all began. Where this all began was about 20, well, actually 62 years ago. No, where this all began was about 25 years ago. I was in a workshop. This is just one of the beginning stories, but this is the beginning story for the tool that I'm going to tell you guys about today. I was in a workshop. There were about 300 people in the workshop, and they said, write down all of your not working stories. And so everybody wrote ferociously what's not working. So this could be, my spouse sucks, or my kid's a horrible, evil child, or my parents ruined me and I'm destroyed for life, or I'll never make money. Money's evil, or my body is old and ugly, and doesn't matter that everybody thinks I'm beautiful. I know I'm ugly. So like whatever the story is, everybody wrote this thing down. So at the end of the night, we had to write it and then read it over and over and over and over again. And so what I found was I was very, very significant in my story. I was very stuck, and I really, really thought it was true. And one of my favorite sayings, if it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it tastes like a duck, most people would say, well, it's a duck. And that's where I was. All evidence was that it was a dadgum duck. And what they were telling me at the end in this journey was, what if it's not a duck? What if you had a way out? And it made my head explode because I wanted them to be right, but it just wasn't believable. I really had a hard time believing it looked like a duck, tastes like a duck, acted like a duck. I've got umpteen thousand years of it being a dang duck, and you're going to just tell me it's not a duck? And you want me to just believe it's not a duck? And the answer is, yeah, be willing to be wrong. That is not a duck. And if you can suspend reality on your duckness, then you have a possibility to really transform your life. So are you really committed to that duck? Well, I happen to be one that was committed to my duck. And that night, so everybody in the room was laughing hysterically. Ah ha ha, this is so funny. I thought I was a duck and I'm really realizing I'm not. And ha ha ha, my story is so stupid. But I was not. And the first 30 years of my life, I either had to my theme song was "Fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it," and I had gone into my next theme song, which is "Authenticity or Bust." And so at the end of this night, my two theme songs crashed. I had to either go home with my tail between my legs or fake laugh like everybody else was in the whole freaking room. Well, I opted for authenticity. And I went home feeling shameful and embarrassed and mad at myself, and knowing that I'm supposed to know this isn't a real thing and know that this is just, and I was in this consternation with myself. So I stayed up all night long creating a tool that got me out of my duckness. And that is what I'm going to tell you guys about today. And I'm going to give you a couple of processes and a couple of steps that I have in that tool. And then after you get what you get today, you may be like the vast majority and go, ah ha ha, everything's a story. And I'm just going to laugh at myself and just drop everything like it's hot. Or you may be one like me and some of the other people I know that we stay a little bit significant in our belief systems, and we hold on to some things like a dog on a bone, even though it's shooting ourselves in the foot. So if you have one of those stories, put it in the chat. Just you can do it in code or however you want to do it. But if you're willing, you might help other people to feel like they're less stupid for having their stories if you're willing to put your story in the chat. And this story could be a story about your body. It could be a story about your child. It could be a story about your partner. It could be a story about love. It could be a story about sex. It could be a story about money. It could be a story about parenting. So I have 20 some years of helping parents unravel their parenting story. But the one story that was my story was the body and health story. So I'm going to tell you my own story and how I use this tool with the body and health. But if you want to get even more done, if you want to get things done faster, if you want to figure out what it is you really, really want, This could be something that could transform your life. All right, so let's go. Is everybody ready to get started? Let's rock and roll. So, step one, example one, saboteur one is what I call the inner 3 year old. The inner 3 year old. My little 3 year old is called Little B. And Little B is like what you hear most people talking about, the inner family. This would be the vulnerable, the raw. And let me just read off my chart here. This is the one that can feel sad, crying, depressed, sleepy, no energy, crave being held, clingy, needy, whiny. This little 3 year old can just go hide under the covers and say, wah, not going to talk to anybody. You're not my friend. I'm taking my toys and I'm going home. Um, this is the part that just feels emotionally starving, can feel shameful. So when I first started dealing with my 3 year old, it felt like I had a hole the size of the Grand Canyon. So, what are some examples of where you see your 3 year old in your life? And what are some examples of sometimes it might be easier to find your spouse's 3 year old? Sometimes it's not as easy to find our own 3 year old, but we're like, oh, yeah, you're in the 3 year old. By the way, don't use you're in it. These tools, if you use the Dr. Beth tools and you don't understand the full process of the 10 keys to compassion, you can be wielding a samurai sword, and as the emotional age of a toddler. And so be very, very, very gentle, gingerly with these processes. These are for internal tools. You can, take everybody's inventory and try to decide who everybody is. Just this would be one of those inside voices in your own head, inside voices. Um, not to get on somebody else's porch and tell them, "Oh, you're being a 3 year old right now. You're acting just like a 3 year old." So can you give yourself an example? And again, if you're willing, in the chat, for those of you that are bold and bodacious, what's an example of your inner 3 year old? And or tell about somebody else's inner 3 year old. You don't have to tell. You can just say, my friend has an inner 3 year old that looks like this. And you can tell on somebody else. So give an example if you can, in the chat. And then the question is, why do we need a 3 year old? Why would we even care about this emotional inner state? Don't we just want to put them in a closet and get rid of them? That's what most people try to do. Let's not have these 3 year olds. Um, they're irrational, illogical, and can get us in trouble. So let me tell you why you might actually want to make friends with your inner 3 year old, because this is your creative juices. This is your spark. This is your this is your just joy for the sake of joy. And when this 3 year old is in her or his power, this is full out pure joy. When this 3 year old is out of power, it's a mess. It's not pretty. It's an emotional cluster. So the choices are, when we suppress all emotions, we suppress one emotion, we suppress all emotions. So that's how we get to depression, is because it's not safe to feel our feelings. And as you let that lid off and you start to feel the feelings, it can be super scary. So there's a tool that we use with the inner 3 year old. This is one of my most powerful tools. I say that on all my tools, by the way. This is one of my most powerful tools, and that is to become the witness of the 3 year old. Because when you can see the 3 year old, You're not being the 3-year-old. When you're being the 3-year-old, you have no access to the rest of your brain. You're just locked up in your amygdala. So you're completely hijacked. Your nervous system is hijacked. Your entire body is hijacked when your inner 3-year-old is out of whack. And so one of the bestest tools is to become the witness of the 3-year-old. And this process of becoming the witness is the tool. Now, there's a gazillion ways to become the witness, and I'm actually in the process of writing a book right this minute. I just sent it to my editor this week on your inner family journal, an inner family bullet journal. And I'm going to have Dr. Bethisms on every page. I'm going to have the questions to ask your inner child. I'm going to walk you hand in hand through this process. And I tell people, if you don't know who this witness is and you don't even know what the freak I'm talking about, borrow mine until you find yours. And mine, let me tell you about my witness. My witness is omniscient, omnipotent, all loving. My my wise self has nothing but pure love. And if anything sneaks in like um any critical thought, not the divine wise self. Any tell or you should or you ought to, not the wise self. In the divine wise self, there is nothing you can do wrong. Nothing. You are pure light. You're pure essence. You're pure beingness. So that's the tool of becoming the wise self. If you get nothing other than that today, write that down. That's good. Put that on your hand or someplace. Become the wise self. And you're going to also be able to use that same tool with the other ones I'm getting ready to tell you about. So, what do we do when this little 3-year-old is completely out of hand? Let me give you a case study. I had a client one time, and just one time, uh, that was a professional being scouted by the pros. And he was 17 years old. He was in high school, scouted by the pros, and his right pitching arm stopped working. It just stopped working. And they did all the studies on his body, his arm, everything, and come to find out they couldn't find anything wrong with it. So they brought him to me. So they said maybe it's in his head. Maybe it's a psychological challenge. So I started talking to this kid and I used this tool, the witness. I was the witness to who might be sabotaging this child's body. And I said, so what could be, this is another tool, perfect and divine about your arm not working? And of course, he says, nothing, nothing, nothing. I'm ruined. I'm doomed. I'm right in the middle of getting scouted by the pros. My life is over. And I said, I know it feels that way. It seems that way. It looks like a duck. It quacks like a duck. It sounds like a duck. I know it feels like a duck. And just play with me a minute. Suspend reality for just a second. What could be perfect about you not having your arm work at 17 when you're getting scouted by the pros? So, can anybody think of a reason? And if so, put it in the chat. What could be a possible reason that would benefit a 17-year-old kid scouted by the pros and his arm not working? Can anybody think of anything? Put it in the chat. Go, 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 go. Can't think of anything? Nobody? All right, here I go. I'm going to give you the answers. So this is what, yes, yes, yes. He could evaluate what he still wants to be. Yes. Here, this was his greatest little 3-year-old's fear. And there wasn't a body issue, actually. It was not, they had done all the tests on his body. And so it was not a body issue. They couldn't find anything. So what ended up happening was this kiddo was petrified that when he got into the pros at one point, he was that's all he was a pitcher. It was nothing but a pitcher at 17, and he couldn't see his life past being a pitcher. And so we started exploring who could it be if his arm never came back. And he starts saying, "Oh, I also love to do art, and I also love to. I'm a computer expert, and he started to have a game plan for who and what and how he could become after the pros ended. And bam, 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 kids in the pros. Just saying. So, uh, this is something, it was absolutely perfect and divine for his arm to break, stop, not work, be, and if we focused on the problem, if we focused on he's bad for having a mental condition, or let's give him a diagnosis of some sort, or let's make the parents bad and wrong, for goodness sakes. Let's throw them under the bus. Like all that stuff misses the quick saboteur fix, which is what's P&D about it? How is our body taking care of us? What is working for us? So, one of the greatest characters for to help the inner 3-year-old is actually the next saboteur. Bam, 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 bam. Super 7-year-old. So the super 7-year-old is the emotional state that comes in to take care of and get the little 3-year-old to stop whining. Get the little 3-year-old to put your big girl panties on. Get the little 3-year-old to wipe that whatever off your face. And the little 7-year-old is like a little Spock. So the 7-year-old gets the logic in order. Let's put all these big emotions, let's put it in the closet. And here's some examples of the super 7-year-old. Mine is super B. So the super 7-year-old can feel overwhelmed and out of control, kind of like Chicken Little. The sky is falling, the sky is falling, just because literally you're 7 trying to take on the world, and you don't have the energy, the connection to your brain, the connection to your wise self. Ding, ding, ding. Go back to that one. And so this super 7-year-old can feel like I got to get things organized. I got to get all my cars lined up. Like whenever I have children that would come into my private practice office, they get their little cars lined up, and they put their blocks in a row, and they do a lot of sorting and organizing, and they are extremely shut down, and they when we get too much, too big, too fast, then this part of ourselves just shuts down, stops working. And then we start blaming and shaming and pointing and prosecuting and analyzing and putting it all out on somebody else. Well, you're the cause of my problems. You're the one that's making me be this way. You're the one that's making all this go down. So why do we need the 7-year-old? Why do we need the 7-year-old? This is our logic. I have a good friend that used to say to me, Beth, you're just really hard on the super 7-year-olds. She was quite a good super 7-year-old. And I would say that probably 85% of the world sometimes gets stuck here. This becomes when it gets overused, it can tap us out of our ceiling, because we can't grow if we have to keep everything perfect. We can't go to the next level if we're not okay with failure. We limit ourselves by staying stuck in the super 7-year-old. So one of the things that an example I have for the super 7-year-old, and another way I used this own your story tool that I'm telling you guys about, is I could not figure out how to drop weight when I was young. And I did everything, the rotation diet, the counting carbs, Weight Watchers, hired a professional weight loss coach. I mean, at the time I had probably 30 different things that I had tried. I was eating healthy, like all you super 7-year-olds out there. Well, all you have to do is eat and exercise. Yeah, well, I was doing that. Just like the super 7-year-old, I mean, just like the 17-year-old kid, I was doing all that. I was doing everything that you could do. When you don't eat right and you're not doing everything, of course you're going to gain weight. When you don't do the rules, of course you're going to gain weight. In this case, I was doing all that. I was doing everything right and the weight wouldn't come off. So I used this tool that I'm going to tell you guys about. And for those that just don't say it's a duck, just let it drop like it's hot. This is for the long extendo version for those of us that are stuck in our stories. And I was stuck. Like when I looked in the mirror, I saw fat. It felt fat. It was fat and I hated my body. I was at war. I was at war. I hated my body. We were just like we were going at it. And so when I did this process, I was like, okay, what could be a payoff benefit in being fat? Again, what's P and D about me not losing weight? I came up with 30 reasons. 30 reasons. So I came out when I was in high school, and it was not a beautiful experience. Voila, my first story that was very significant and very held on to. I'll tell you what's wrong with me. I'm gay. That was my story. So now the story is, I'll tell you what's wrong with me. I'm fat. And with this story of I'm fat, once I realized how the weight was serving me, I cried. I held on to my fat. I loved my fat. I was like, oh my God, you've been saving my life. You've been doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. So the tool for the super 7-year-old is brag. Brag, 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 celebrate, appreciate, acknowledge, see what's actually working instead of what's not working. So, can you think of a time in your life where your super 7-year-old has hijacked your body? Can you think of a time where, and this can either be where you overutilize your organizing situation, or you've overused it to the point where you've burnt yourself to a crisp and you're done. And then another character comes in, bam, 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 and that is the Mamma Jamma inner teen. So the inner teen comes in to help take care of the super 7-year-old. So the super 7-year-old comes in to help take care of the 3-year-old, and the inner teen comes in to help take care of the super 7-year-old. And don't forget the divine wise witness that loves up and holds and takes care of all three of these little emotional states. So with the inner teen can say, take a chill pill, get over yourself. So the inner teen is like our authentic, politically incorrect. Let me read a few from the inner teen. The closest to connection to the body. So sometimes the inner teen will speak for you through your body. Sometimes the inner 3-year-old speaks to you through your body too. But like with the this is where you can get this part of you questions authority, self-doubting, unconfident, and overconfident. The inner teen is both. It's two sides of the same coin. You're superior to everybody and you're inferior to everybody. And this inner teen can be in your power where you're in the zone, or you can be out of your power where you're sabotaging and saboteuring. No. Like tagging everything. So when you're not, just like a real live teenager, if they don't feel heard, if they don't feel gotten, if they feel misunderstood, if they feel controlled, what do? rebel, defy, act out. That's why we're so afraid of teenagers because we don't understand them. And when we don't understand them, they kick our butt. So this is with the inner teen, this is the so important is that we seek to understand the inner teen. We seek to get what it is that they're throwing down. And let me tell you the tool for the inner teen. The tip, the Dr. Beth tool, the tip for the inner teen, get ready, wait for it. Vent, vent, turn it up, and vent some more. And this is going to be something that you've been taught all your life not to do. If it's not nice, don't say it. If it's not nice, don't think it. If it's not nice, don't let anybody know you're feeling it. And I'm telling you, when you get to the teenage years, it starts eking out like new body parts. I mean, it's just a mess. It's coming out. Ready or not, here it comes. So if we don't have the divine wise self and the permission to turn it up, then the inner teen becomes our worst saboteur yet. And this saboteur can do things like literally crash you into a wall, physically, emotionally, intellectually, school wise, work wise. I mean, there's all sorts of things. This part of yourself, if it's not your life passion, if you're not on board, if you don't feel like it's what you really want, there is a part of you that will pull your pants down, trip you up, make you have egg on your face. And it's an unconscious. It's like, how do I keep running into the same guy? How do I keep having the exact same perpetual problem? How do I keep having the exact same thing, situation, circumstance happen over and over and over and over and over again? And as long as you keep fighting this circumstance, you are at war with your inner teen and at war with your inner family. So the game is to, instead of try to stop it, change it, stuff it down, turn it up. Turn it up. Now, I need to have another Danger Will Robinson warning sign here. Not on somebody else's head. This is really, 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 really important. When you're turning up the vent, this is only for you and your divine wise self or your coach, or come to the power hours and vent, 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 vent. We have a family power hour on Tuesdays. I have a teen young adult power hours on Tuesday nights. I've got a women's badass success driven power hour on Wednesday nights. And what I'm going to be doing, rolling out from this webinar, is going to be an own your story so your story doesn't own you power hour. And what I'm going to be doing is teaching you a step-by-step process on how to understand, own, witness, unravel, and transform these ducks that you are just hoping and praying is not a duck. Now, if you're like me, you're like, yeah, but you don't understand. I have a doctor's diagnoses. My doctor's diagnoses proves my story. Or you don't understand my ex. He's really certifiable. Or you don't understand my situation. My parents runt me. They runt me good. So I get it. It looks like a duck. You have evidence of a duck. You could line up 99 people and everybody would agree with you. It's a duck. He's bad, 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 bad. She's wrong, 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 wrong. You're run. Like, you can line all your people up, all your support systems to keep you stuck. And if you're tired of this story and you're tired of being a duck, I got another way. If you so choose to accept it, and if you're willing to be wrong. Try this. Say this out loud to yourself. I'm willing to be wrong. I know when I do this with sometimes with people, they go, I'm willing to be bruh. I'm willing, rah, I could be wrong. It's like, I'm willing to be wrong. I'm just willing. Now, you can say in the back of your head from your inner teen, I don't think I am. I'm pretty sure I'm not, but I'm willing. I'm willing. Okay, Dr. Beth, I'm willing. If I might get my life back, if I might actually have everything I ever wanted, okay, fine. I'll be willing to be wrong. So, this is the game that I play in owning your story and transforming your life. So, would you like to know how you could work with me further in the future? And the crowd says, yes, please, Dr. Beth, let me know. How can we do this? So, I actually have a special super duper 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 offer for you guys. Um, and I'm going to share it with you now. So, here we go. Blah, 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 share screen. Where's that little share button? Here it is. Ah, I had it all set up. Um, you guys are going to be so impressed when this happens. This is why it would really be helpful to have someone else do this part. All right, here we go. Wait for it. Ta-da! I did it. Okay. This is the offer if you so choose to play with me. And what you're going to get with working with me is basically so much fun, so much self-love and compassion, and how to like what does that even mean, self-love and compassion? And then second, how the heck do we do that? How do you do self-love? Like there's thousands of self-help books out there on love thyself. And what I'm going to say in this process is I'm going to take you inside out, outside in from the right, from the left, stand up, sit down, fight, fight, fight. And these tools get you to a place of, oh my God, look how I've been saving myself with that extra 30 pounds. Those that was saving my life, and I didn't even know how it was saving my life. For example, I I'm a rebellion about what the media says that all women should be a size two. Well, what's the best way to to the media? Don't be a size two. I was scared to death that I was in an automotive um, field where I was a consultant, coach, facilitator with thousands and thousands of men. And I had a hallucination that if I had extra weight on me, they wouldn't hit on me. And that was the story I had. If I stayed heavy, then I wouldn't get hit on. My mom was a prom queen. I didn't want to compete with my mom. My dad, had a story about women and the looks of women and how important it was. So it was my way to rebel as a child. It was my way to individuate. You can't control me. I'll stay fat. And so, but it was unconscious. And so I'm fighting myself. So this process, you'll find out where whatever is going on in yourself, how it might actually be helping you. And then you get to revamp that. You may also find, oh, this is what I'm afraid of. And then you can move faster in your journey. And so there's a whole lot of ways to do this quicker, faster, and more fun, and with a ton of support. So you'll be doing it with a group. All of this, I'm going to be bringing out a do-it-yourself book, and you can do it yourself. It takes a lot of commitment to take yourself through this journey. And if you are one of those people and want to do it, wait for the book. I'm hoping it'll be out in 2025. If you're somebody that would like to do it now, faster, quicker, and get to it with people, this is for you. So here we go. So first of all, I have this process. It's a 6-month course, And I call this my combo course. And you have both the Own Your Story tool as well as teaching people all about my 10 keys to compassion and deep dive in the inner family chart, what I've been talking about today. Plus, you get me for a session with me one on one. Bonus, 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 bonus. You get all my power hours, all my past recordings, archives, way over 3,000 of value. More bonus, but wait, there's more. You get my entire self-study course. And this is what I've done in the past that's on recording with my PowerPoints and all the material. I have a 2.5 hour audio, and I have a 52-week course that will walk you through parenting tips on my best-selling book, Embracing Defiance, helping your child express their unique voice while keeping your sanity. And all that valued is almost $8,000. For the webinar offer, right now, it's $1,597. And I know for a lot of people, that's just too much. I know that's great, Beth. That's awesome. Good stuff. Would love to do it. So for those of you that would love it, but that's just too big, too much, too fast, I'm going to give you a sample bite. So if you would like a sample bite, you get 1 month of the 10 keys overview, the Own Your Story, and we'll end up getting through the very first key of the 10 keys to compassion, which is key one, compassion. And so all of this you get with a bonus until the class starts. Also, you get my power hours, which are normally $333 a month. So just for one, and I'm giving you the family power hour and the success driven women power hour. So all of this is worth all of these things, 15, almost $1,500. So my special webinar offer is $297. And I'm throwing in the kitchen sink. I am so excited. I'd love to get to work with you guys. And if you have questions or you want more information or you want to come back to another free webinar and just see what in the heck I was throwing down, you're so welcome to come back and have a free taste anytime you'd like. And if you would like to, thank you for staying to the end of the call. I'm going to give you my really good free stuff, the entire interfamily chart, which is if you go to drbeth.com/free stuff, you'll get a copy of my book, my Mom's Choice best-selling book in an ebook form. You'll get what are the 10 keys. You'll get this whole if it's not fun, it doesn't get done, which is all about the inner family saboteurs and the inner family chart. So I just want to thank you guys so much for spending your time with me. Thank you for being willing to listen and being one of those lifelong learners that's willing to keep growing. And I always tell the parents that work with me, your kids are so lucky to have you as a parent if you're one of these lifelong learners. Take great care. drbeth.com.